Wow. We just had a little bit of fun behind the scenes here in the studio before we live. Total loss of sound. So all of you who are watching this, hope you can hear us now, at least hear me. We can hear Lisa fine. It was just, I want to get this thing off the top of my head here. Branding's all great, but I can't see myself. Gosh, this is the beauty of doing live, isn't it, right? I'm like, what is this thing above my head here? Let's change one of these. Let's do some magic here, right?
What is it? Don't work with
There we go.
awesome. Don't work with animals, children, or branding on lives. Yeah.
And we can't say technology because we're technology dependent these days. So
Mm.
Lisa was just teasing me for my radio voice. Because yesterday I think
That's not what I called it, Dave. That is not what I called it.
But I think yesterday I must have done 2 webinars, a 2-hour presentation, and I was online at 6, and last call finished at 9:30 last night. So, needless to say, the voice got a workover. But we are live. We are here. It is Thursday mornings. I love Thursday morning lives because they're live. And that means whatever happens, happens. So last Thursday, we talked about human behavior, if you recall. And we talked about how to help people become the best version of themselves to do their life's best work while in your care and beyond. And the process for helping people be their best. And thank you to all of you who requested the hashtag Be Your Best PDF, and you've all gotten that now. But today, imagine if we took all those human beings and we put them all together in a group and we gave them a common goal. Would we not call that organizational behavior?
No.
And should the process for organizational behavior be any different to that of what it is for human behavior if it is a collective group of humans all working towards a common goal? Should it be?
I think so.
Let me ponder with Cool.
Is it going to help people get around more than just the water cooler? That's my new favorite thing at the moment.
Yes. Yeah, I know. I've noticed that if you haven't read our newsletter that went out yesterday, Lisa did a great article on that, and I think you mentioned it in your article in there, which is really cool. So yes, so let's talk about organizational behavior in context to human behavior. All right. So I'm going to share this screen, hoping that everything works the way it should. I'll throw Lisa and I off to the side. Look at that. Yes. So last week, what we talked about was this here. Right, we talked about human behavior, and just a very quick recap so that we can bring it into context of organizational behavior. So the process for human behavior is very simple. It's success, however you choose to define that for yourself, has come from your results. These are all things I have accomplished in my life and that culminate in my picture of success. Now, all those results have come from the way I've behaved. I've taken these actions to drive those results. Now, what we know about human behavior over the past 200 or more years, you can go back even further if you like, is that how I think determines how I act. So my attitudes, my habits of thinking drive my behavior. Now, those attitudes or habits of thinking I have been conditioned into us through a process of spaced repetition of a bunch of inputs from parents, teachers, media, society, whoever it is that valued their opinions, have conditioned the way you think, causing you to behave the way you do, getting results and success that you may or may not be enjoying in life right now. Now, if you look at that, then that's the process for human behavior. That's how we all learn to walk, talk, ride a bike, drive a car, do anything else in life, become who we are today. It's the same process that you used to be who you are today that you can use to become who you want to be tomorrow, right? So I'm just doing this at a very high level as a refresher so that it makes sense when we move over to organizational behavior. Now, if you look at, so if I want to have results I've never had before, I would have to do something I've never done before. And then I would say, well, who would I need to become to do those things? Because the person I am today hasn't done those things or doesn't do those things. So who would I need to become to have those results in my life? How would that person behave? And then what thinking would be required? And then if I bring that down here and use those as the new inputs with repetition to condition a new way of thinking, drive the new thinking here, which drives the new behaviors, gets me the new results and new success that I'm looking for in my life. Yay. And that is the process for human behavior. So if we look at this now, and understanding that in context of human behavior, why would, as we said earlier, the process for organizational behavior be much different if it's just a bunch of human beings all working together for a common goal. So what we decided to do is, well, imagine if we could create a process for organizational behavior that mirrored human behavior, and it also at the same time help us to understand what all these terms are that people use in business, like purpose, values, vision, mission, and where they belong. Because there's a misconception, or whether it's a misconception or not, but people have different ideas of what purpose is, mission is, vision is. Values, everyone's pretty much the same on, but at least purpose, mission, and vision. So we want to help you not only to identify where those things belong and what they really should be, and put them in context to organizational behavior for you, so you can actually use them as for what they're designed to be, to engage, to inspire, to empower, to evolve people. Right, so that's what we're going to do in the next 10 or 15 minutes. And Lisa's going to monitor the comments. So anybody who's watching this anywhere, if you have any comments or anything like that, or questions, please feel free to make your comments on the fly as we go. And Lisa will interrupt me and we'll answer any questions or bring up some comments on the screen if you have any thoughts about what we're sharing today. So let's get started. So if we look at the success as a human being, well, to us, success is the fulfillment of the mission. Now, mission statements in most organizations have been up on the wall for 25 years, and our mission is this long diatribe about what the organization's mission is. Now, whether that served us at that time or not, I don't believe that it's serving us today to think of missions in that term. If you look at military, in the military terms, a mission, once the mission is accomplished, what happens after that? There's another mission, and then there's another mission, and there's another mission, and all those missions all line up to take that organization somewhere. Which is where the vision is, right? So mission then is success. So no different to human behavior, mission is just who we need to become as an organization. And much like us as human beings, are we the best we can ever be? Possibly, but are we the best, like in terms of so far? But that doesn't mean we can't become even more as we move forward. And that's why mission in organizational terms is the same thing. Because as great as your organization is today, is it as great as it can be? Do you believe it has an infinite capability or capacity for greatness, that you could be bringing more out of your organization and becoming more for more people in the world? And that's why mission is there to evolve us. It's the evolution of your business. And if you look at your business where it was 3 years ago, is your business today the same as it was 3 years ago? Is the business today going to be the same in the next 3 years? No, because business is a series of evolutions. And mission then is actually just the next evolution of your business. So it's about identifying what does success look like in the next 3 years. And then results, we use a process called objectives and key results. So we look at that going, well, what would we need to accomplish to show that we have become that organization? And then that becomes no different to the other one there. That's your results. And then if you look at, well, what's going to drive those results? Well, what are the actions that we need to take that would drive those results? Well, that's just your tactical plans or the behaviors of our organization, how we need to behave. Or also what we refer to when we work with our clients is the tactical plan. Mapping out the actions that you would take to drive those results in each of the key results under each of the objectives to fulfill the mission. Now, much like human behavior, attitudes, our habits of thinking are what drive the right behavior for us as humans. Well, in an organization, our habits of thinking should be our values. This is how we think around here. And please understand, when you're using values in your organization, that we're saying, here's how we think around here. We're not telling you what to think. We're just saying, here's how we think around here. And what we want to challenge people to do when it comes to values is look for the unique thinking of your business. What makes your business unique in the way it thinks about what it does? And we'll talk a little bit more about that in context in a moment. And those values then will be coached on every single occasion as the inputs through the lens of purpose in our organization. So no different to the process for human behavior. Conditioning is coaching. Spaced repetition is just on every single occasion that you can. And inputs is identifying who we need to become, what results we want to have, what are the behaviors we need to do, what's the thinking that's required, bringing all that down to the bottom. And no different to the process for human behavior, except for what I said here is going through the lens of purpose, because everything has to be filtered through purpose first. And purpose, of course, being in your organization is, why does your business exist? And to me, purpose is the seed of culture. It's also the very first decision-making filter. So when you look at your organizational behavior, do you filter every decision through your purpose first? Will it help us do this, solve this problem that we're passionate about in the world? Yes or no? And if it does, then that's great. Then on every single occasion, coach your team to think more in line with the lens of your values, to drive the right behaviors, to achieve the results, and fulfill the mission, which then will lead us towards the vision. So if we look at, let's change color pens here. So our purpose is designed to engage everybody. Oops. So now all of a sudden we have something that engages everyone, gets everybody out of bed in the morning. We're all excited about to come to work to passionately solve this problem we see in the world. And then through that, we're going to be coached to think more in alignment with our values, which is then going to empower us to make smarter decisions. So our values are there to empower us to make smarter decisions. They're the guardians of our purpose, to make sure we don't stray from why we do what we do. And then if we take our actions through our tactical plan under the lens of our values to achieve our objectives and our key results, our mission there will continue to evolve us as an organization. And then our vision should be there to inspire us. And your vision should be a picture of the world that's far greater than all of us combined, and so big that we can't accomplish it alone. And remember, when you're looking at your vision as well, your vision of the world, it's when we've been living our purpose through the lens of our values, what's the world going to look like? And it's not like our world, so please don't look at vision from a selfish point of view. Many years ago, we used to look at vision as, I see having 10 circle leaderships all across the globe, and like our vision was to build this big organization. Well, I really believe that vision is actually the impact of you having all that. So if we had 10 circle leaderships all around the world in different places, helping leaders to evolve themselves and their businesses to stay relevant, what would the world look like? Well, can you imagine a world where every business thrived on purpose? Where people every morning got up to have a sense of meaning to the work that they were doing, that they were excited about going to work because work gives us meaning as human beings. And they were doing work that was meaningful, full of meaning. Can you imagine that, going to businesses like that? And that those people loved the work that they're doing. They were speaking that love to the world, and the market and consumers were responding in kind. Like when I talk about vision, this is vision. It's not about us having 10 circle leaderships around the world. Vision is what's that impact of everything that you do through the lens of your purpose for your purpose through the lens of your values. That is vision. Like it should be so inspiring and so big that we're going, like Lisa and I talk about it, we're like, we can't do this by ourselves. And we got Al joining us, and we got Ben joining us. Even our whole organization, if we had 10 across the world, we would not be able to create a world where businesses thrive on purpose all by ourselves, which is why we support other organizations who are doing great work in the world, because we know we can't do it by ourselves, but we want to make sure that world happens. So then we go, well, who do we need to become then to start creating that world? And that's our mission. In the next 3 years, we're going to become a global community of evolving purpose-driven leaders. Right? We must become that. So we realize we can't do it alone, so we need to build a global community. If we really want to start to see that vision become reality, well, we know it's bigger than us, so we know who we need to become and what we need to create. And then we map out, and this is where it's going to get a little messy for everyone, so if you can just bear with us and go through this here. We've mapped out, well, what are the 6 things that must be accomplished to show that we have become that organization? And we looked at, what's the team that we need to have? What's the brand that we need to have? What clients do we need to have? What business performance do we need to have? What network do we need to have? What industry relationships do we need to have? So in 3 years, we know what must be accomplished. Those are our results, like human behavior. And then we go in the next 12 months, well, what must be accomplished to be on track for that in 3 years' time? What team do we need in the next 12 months to have the team we need in 3 years? Not going where traditional goal setting and organization goes, hey, we're going to have, if we want whatever we want in 3 years, well, what's 1/3 of that in 12 months' time? This is about the constant evolution. The reason why we use objectives and key results is because it helps us with the process of evolution. So we need to build the team we need in the next 12 months to evolve into the team we need in 3 years' time. We're not just taking the team we need in 3 years' time and going 1/3 of that. And same thing from branding, from clients, from business performance, for all of those objectives. And then what we do when we get down to actions is we're going to go, okay, in the next 90 days, what are the 3 core objectives that we're working on in the next 90 days? And then only then do we build our tactical plan of actions for each of those things that we're going to be working on. So now we know how to behave to drive whatever results quarter by quarter to become the organization that we need to become in 3 years' time. So we've reverse engineered this whole process, and then we just march forward with it. But the way we march forward with it is we take all these things like that down here through the lens of our purpose. Will it help us solve this problem that we're passionate about? On every single occasion, we bring our values into it. Either we look for where our values are already being demonstrated, or we have conversations. If we're really living, leading, and loving these things, is this how we'd be doing it to make sure that we're on track for our tactical plan, and then achieving our 90-day objectives to move us towards our 12-month, to move us towards our 3 years, to become the organization that we need to become, and move us closer to the vision we have of the world. No different as we would with the process for human behavior. The process, organizational behavior that got us to be who we are today from 3 years ago is the same one we're using to get us to where we want to be in the next 3 years. All we're doing is changing the inputs, all by design. Because most of us in life have gotten where we are through default and circumstance. But you can use the same process to build who you want to become by design. And it's no different for organizational behavior as well. And here's where they all come together beautifully. I'm going to take a risk here. See if I can move this across. Oh, look at that. So let me just draw this up very quickly. So when we talk about evolving leaders and businesses to stay relevant in the hearts and minds of people they choose to serve. So if you can imagine, this is 3 years out. If you now go, this is who I am today, and I've built the business that I am today, right? So we're starting at ground zero here. Here's me and here's the business. Now we're saying in 3 years' time, this is the business that we must have, right? Then we have to go, well, then who would I need to become in order to have that business? 1 year, 2 years, 3 years. Because the leader you are built the business you have today. So if you want to evolve your business to become something it's never been before, then who do you need to become to lead that business? And so this is why what we help people with is not only identifying what that there is, but who do you need to become? And the way Lisa and I work, and Al and Ben will, as he's just joined the team, is every year we set a theme for ourselves as to what's the next evolution of ourselves as we move from this horizon to this horizon to this horizon, so that we can become the leaders who would have this business. So that's a little bonus I wasn't going to throw in, but I decided to at the very end. Because really it's important here when you look at how these two things come together. If I can bring all that sort of somewhat across here. Well, I'm looking at that. It looks pretty messy, eh?
You said it.
But anyway, so like hopefully it helps people to understand, like human behavior, organizational behavior, it's the same thing, right? And it's understanding that now you can understand why we should have a purpose, why we should have values, why we should have mission, why we should have vision, and how, what they really are. And then hopefully now you can decide how to use them. Because it's very simple. Like for leaders, I always say, if this is your leadership tool belt. If it's a situation, thanks, Brad. If it's you have to decide if a situation is happening in the workplace, hang on a second, is that about the problem we're passionate about solving, like why we do what we do? Then we could have a purpose conversation. If it's, hang on, is it how we're thinking about it? Well, then that could be a values conversation. Is it about who we're becoming? Well, that's a mission conversation. Is it the world that we're creating? Well, that's a vision conversation. And so now you know when to use those things with your with your team as tools to help them become the best that they can be to do their life's best work while they're in your care and beyond as well. And we can do that in a collective fashion. So, Lisa, have you ever had a tradesperson come to your house, like a plumber or electrician?
Yes.
So can you imagine the plumber's coming to your house for a reason? They know what they, got a leaky faucet or whatever it might be. And they show up, right? And they show up knowing the problem they're there to solve, but they don't have their tools with them. What do you think of that tradesperson?
Who brought this guy? Who's this amateur?
Now, what if that person showed up and had tools but didn't know how to use them?
Oh, cute. Where's
Yeah.
your dad?
What if they showed up, they had tools, knew how to use them, but the tools weren't very good?
That's interesting because I would say that he doesn't value his craft or his skill because he doesn't invest into his tools. And I
Right.
don't want someone working on my house that doesn't invest into or see the value in their own stuff.
Correct. So, but if that person showed up, had their tools, knew how to use them, they were sharp, well trained in them, you're going, high five. I finally found a tradesman, a quality tradesperson.
Yeah, hey champ, can I make you a coffee? Where's your card so I can refer you to my friends?
Yes. So please, anyone watching this, as leaders, your purpose, your values, your vision, your mission are your tools of trade. Your trade is leadership. That's your craft. And if you don't have those tools, well, then you're that tradesperson who shows up like, what am I doing here? And if you have them, but you don't know how to use them, well, you should learn how to use them. And they need to be sharp. So you need to know what they are, know how to use them, be sharp and well trained in those, because those are your tools of trade. That's your tools of your craft, and your craft is leadership. I can't stress that much more, because to me, this is what I see is people have all this stuff on their marketing placards and their bumper stickers and on their websites and all this stuff. And some of the stuff they have is really good. Some of it's very outwardly facing. Some of it's like blah. But I'd rather you have boring, ordinary stuff that you know how to use and lead and live and love every single day than all this magical stuff that you don't know how to use. I'd rather you have really powerful, pragmatic magic that you can use, that you know how to use extremely well in the end. But this is why we have to have this stuff in our organizations. It's got nothing to do with marketing. We all think it's about, because the clients like it. People love to hear this stuff. Well, the first thing is your team have to be, and Lisa and I talk about this. You memorize it, but they have to be mesmerized by it. Like I want to work in an organization where I'm engaged. I have a sense of purpose, a meaning to the work I'm doing. I want to know that I have a leader that empowers me to make smarter decisions. So I have something to believe in. Now I have someone who believes in me. I know that they believe in me. They trust me because they have a system of values that they're empowering me to make smarter decisions in. And then I also want to have a leader that I can believe in, that has a vision of the world, a picture of the world that's far greater than all of us combined. Right? So I have the three things that every human being wants: something to believe in, somebody who believes in me, and somebody I can believe in. And then if we all can gather around and build this amazing boat that will sail us out for the yearning for the vast and endless sea that we all have, tell me what you need me to do. I'm in. Let's build this boat. So that is human behavior, organizational behavior, all rolled into one. Thoughts and comments, Lisa, from that? Anything you want to share with the...
Yes, please. That'd be awesome. I really loved what you said about not only having the right tools, but them being sharp and knowing how to use them. So I was trying to cut a tomato last night and the knife just wasn't quite sharp enough. And I tell you what, there was nearly a trip to the emergency department, partly because of who I am as a person, so user error, but also because the knife wasn't sharp. Like if we think proverbially, if your knife's not sharp, you risk cutting yourself or anybody trying to help you. And that's just messy and more of a cluster than your whiteboard was just there. And so that was something that I really liked as well. And if I can also segue into, and while we're talking about leader and as a leadership coach, I'm all about who do I need to become in order to create the space. Can you just give the legends that are joining us live? I really love how you do the container, and if you get the ceiling and they go sideways.
Sure. Yeah. So this is what we talk about. So as a leader, if this is you and you're not willing to evolve yourself and increase your own capabilities and capacity for greatness, everyone else in your team is doing what they need to do to be there. And all of a sudden they hit this glass ceiling because you become the roadblock. And then when they get to this stage, guess what? They go, bugger this, I'm out. There's no room here for me. Right? So they leave. But if we can help you to increase your capacity or your capabilities and capacity for greatness and create space, then your team can evolve at the same rate as you. And this is then when you do that, then your business can evolve. But it's where businesses get so bigger than the leader because the leader thinks that they don't have to, that the business becomes big and implodes on top of them, or they lose amazing talent and then they have to dive back into the business and do the work. And then also the other thing is what you end up doing is you're pushing down on your team technically. And imagine if you could create a place where you turn that the other way, where you're lifting your team up and you're pushing them up. Right. And that's, to me, is what leadership is. This is management. And and it's you're managing your resources. But when you try to manage people, this is what you end up doing. But when we actually lead, we're all lifting each other up. And this is what we want to make sure we're having going on in our organization. And the way to do that is to make sure your team are engaged, make sure that they're empowered, make sure that they're inspired, make sure that they're evolving. And that means you have to do it first. So if you're not leading, living, and loving it, then there's nothing anyone else can do. If I'm not continuing to evolve and have a theme every year for me, how am I going to create space and capacity for you?
You're not.
Yeah.
Period.
And then I lose the world's only humicorn, and I'm like, what the hell happened?
Okay, next Thursday, come back and join us, folks, because there's going to be a spectacle on the screen. The humicorn's coming out to play next week.
Oh, yes. That's going to be awesome. Maybe we should have, yes, and maybe I might do something special too. We'll see.
So
next Thursday's live stream is going to be fun.
It's going to be fun. Dave's going to be well slept. His voice is going to be nice and rested.
Yes.
Would you like to share with the people the three things that you're grateful for today, Dave?
Yeah. Well, so Lisa, as part of our team, has been challenging us and once again demonstrating leadership, because whether you have a position or title is irrelevant. Anyone can demonstrate leadership. And she was demonstrating leadership this morning by asking all our team members to put what they were grateful for. And so for me, after a big long day yesterday, as like I said, I think I was up at 5, online at 6, and then finished my last call at 9:30 last night. By choice, I'm not certainly complaining about it, but it was, when you have clients all around the world, this is what happens. And I said this morning, I'm grateful for coffee.
Excessively productive, we call that. Prolifically productive.
Well, yeah, it was a massive day yesterday, which was awesome, but it was just a long day. And so I was grateful for coffee, number one. Number two, I was grateful for the amazing team. So as I was going through this past week with all the volume of workload that we've had, that we're blessed to have, to be of service to people, which has been amazing. And very grateful for them for their patience and understanding and compassion for me, as I've been, a lot of the workload this particular week just happened to be on me, which is just the way it was. And then the third thing I was grateful for was coffee.
Oh, fun. We have fun. We keep it real at Circle Leadership.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm please be mindful of your coffee consumption. Caffeine's okay, but please do not over consume your caffeine. Actually, when we run our productivity workshops that we run from time to time, actually, I've got this picture of this massive coffee cup of me holding this massive coffee cup and saying, this is how most people become more productive. And it's like this big bowl of coffee. But that is a temporary fix for productivity. It is not what I would suggest. Anyway, having a bit of fun with it, which is good. And I love, that's what I love about live streams. So hopefully after today, you can see human behavior, organizational behavior. If you are watching this in a replay, whatever, and you would love a template, a PDF of this without all the chicken scratchings on it, we gave the one human behavior last week. I'll prepare one and send one out on Friday with organizational and human behavior on it together. So if you want to rewatch this and go through it and take a look at it yourself, just put in the comments, what hashtag should we use for this one, Lisa?
Hashtag keep it real.
Hashtag keep it real. All right. I take you yes, very much, Cheryl. And I'm a purist though, Cheryl. So please, you might appreciate this. I am a purist. My coffee, I don't know if I can show this, is just black coffee, beans and water. Right? No sugar, no nothing. So I am a hashtag coffee snob. That's what everyone knows me as to be. I'm a coffee snob because when I do have coffee, it's only beans and water. I can't put sugar in it. Well, I could, but I don't. Milks, creams, whatever it is to tweak it and adjust it. It has to be great coffee.
I love that.
Yeah. So hashtag keep it real.
Hashtag keep it real. Yep.
Okay. Hashtag keep it real. And we will send you a PDF template that has both the human behavior and organizational behavior on it together. That they're yours to have. That explains this process. And we'd be glad to share that with all of you.
Yeah.
And that's it. So we're good.
Fun times.
Let me just stop sharing that. There we go. So next Thursday, though, it'll be a fun live stream. And what should we talk about? We're going to do coaching, not bossing.
Oh, let's do coaching, not bossing. Yeah.
No, it's quite all right, Cheryl. I understood what you're saying. Please don't ever apologize. Only I apologize because I'm Canadian and we say sorry just because we're Canadians, and you're not.
Hey.
So yeah, so next week's live, we're at 30 minutes now, so we're going to cut it out here, is how to become a coach, not a boss. So we're going to look at organizational behavior and human behavior, and then we're going to show you how to utilize both those processes in sync to not only help people become the best version, but do the life's best work.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, so tune in next Thursday. Looking forward to that. And the Humicorn will be here, and maybe some other special guest. Santa. Thank you for tuning in to our live broadcast. It's been a fun one this morning, and it's going to be even more fun next Thursday. See you all.
Much love. Bye.